Is the Steam Machine dead on arrival? A lot of people are claiming that it very well may be. Why? Well, because of the price. Now, we don't know the exact figure for it yet, but through various interviews and coverage surrounding the Steam Machine, they're going to be pricing the Steam Machine like a PC instead of a traditional console. A lot of people are excited for a machine that can get them in the door for PC gaming at around the $500 price point. That is seemingly not what we're getting here. It very well may be north of $750. Hello, everybody. It's your boy Jmulls, and is that even a problem?
In a small but mighty package.
There are two main things that really kickstarted this conversation. We have a tweet from PriceEmpire.com that says, Valve likely to price the Steam Machine above $750. And then we have two things from Linus. One from his podcast, where he basically talks about a story where he asked Valve, hey, is the thing going to be priced around $500? Like a console, and they didn't really answer him. And then in a main channel video, he said that Valve said it's going to be priced competitively for a PC, paraphrasing here, for a PC, not like a console. But I mean, Valve hasn't been particularly secretive about this. I mean, the fact that it is just a PC has been one of the big advertising points for the Steam Machine. So some people reply to all the controversy going around right now, well, what's the big deal? Because yeah, the Steam Machine is a PC. It's just a Linux PC. Operating a version of Arch Linux called SteamOS, also from Valve. If you have used the Steam Deck before, you have used SteamOS. Actually, quite like SteamOS. But if it's just a PC and they're pricing it like a PC, then why are people upset by this? Because, well, I feel a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction to the Steam Machine was that it was supposed to act as a way to appeal to the console fan base out there and the console market as a way to get them to dip their toe into PC gaming and into Steam itself. And while the prices of consoles have really gone up in the last year, now in the $500 to $600 range, unless you're a Nintendo Switch 2, there's generally an expectation that getting your foot into the door of console gaming will be cheaper than getting your foot in the door of PC gaming. That doesn't always hold up, but for a lot of people, that's the perception going on. And I mean, if you're already in the realm of PC gaming, then why would you get a Steam Machine that's probably going to be either around on par with your machine or maybe even a little bit less? Again, that's the perception going on right now. If the target demographic for this were people interested in consoles, and this can potentially price those people out, and the machine itself doesn't seem powerful enough to tantalize the already established PC demographic, who is this for? Is this just going to be dead on arrival? Well, I don't think it's going to be. I just think people's knee-jerk reaction to the Steam Machine was thinking, oh, this is going to overtake Xbox, this might even put a massive pressure on PlayStation, it's going to usurp Nintendo. It was never going to do that. It was never ever going to do that. I don't think Valve wanted to do that either. I think we're looking at a very similar thing to what the Steam Deck did. Did it kill the Nintendo Switch? No, but it was also never meant to. It's a piece of hardware meant to get Valve in the door of being known as a hardware company instead of just a software company. They've dipped their toe into hardware before to varying degrees of success, but they spot a particular niche that is not being satiated in the market right now to an effective level, and Valve says, okay, well, let's make something to target that niche. I think that's what they're trying to do with the Steam Machine here.
In a small but mighty package.
I think it's fair to say that at this point, the Steam Machine is not going to be a loss leader for Valve. What do I mean by this? Well, a loss leader is when a company sells a product at a loss. They lose money because their intended goal is to make their real money from other purchases and products. When it comes to consoles, generally the box itself is sold at a loss, but that gets your foot in the door, and they make their money back by selling you video games, peripherals, online multiplayer, stuff like that, particularly the games. And by selling it as a loss leader, they're able to make the console not as expensive as it would be if they wanted to make money on the individual sale of the console. It can make it more tantalizing for consumers and say, you know what, maybe I will go the route of buying, say, an Xbox or a PlayStation, and then they got their hooks into you, and then you start buying games willy-nilly. So Valve clearly aren't going to be able to show value in getting a Steam Machine by selling the thing at a loss and then making the money back on the back end. It's a PC, people could buy in bulk for whatever reason and just not buy Steam games with it. It is a PC. Could there be ways around that? Yeah, sure. Does Valve potentially not want to deal with that, also possibly. But I think there are other ways that Valve can leverage the Steam Machine for consumers that makes it still seem valuable. As I talked about before, I think a lot of people are miscategorizing what the Steam Machine is going to end up being. I don't think it's going to be a box that is meant to rival Xbox or PlayStation, let alone Nintendo. If it was priced as a regular console, then maybe, but that's clearly not the kind of piece of equipment that Valve are trying to put out the door here. And while sure, they say you can play games at like 4K 60 FPS with FSR, it's not that powerful of a machine. So if you have like a 4090, a 5090, something high-end like that, this was never going to be for you. This was meant to appeal to people that want their foot in the door when it comes to PC gaming, that want a cheaper alternative, where they don't have to mess with all the nomenclature that is everywhere when it comes to PC gaming. That stuff is mega confusing for a lot of people. For a lot of people out there, if you show them two CPUs, they wouldn't be able to tell you which one is which, or which one's more powerful, or by how much. The naming systems for a lot of PC components are hyper confusing if you're not already submerged and immersed in that world. So just having something where it's like, oh, Steam Machine, this will play my games. Oh, cool. I can get into PC gaming with this. There is a value to that. Are you telling me I don't have to pay for online anymore? Cool. I mean, it's Linux, you'll have to deal with, you know, the whole anti-cheat situation. Can you get around it? Sure, you could just install Windows. But again, I think the primary demographic for the Steam Machine are people that just want some way that's relatively easy to play their Steam games on either their main TV in a living room, or they're just operating with really outdated hardware and they just want some upgrade. They don't need the highest of the high end. They don't need something like that. They just need something that is average, if not a little bit better than average. A name brand that they can trust, and it also doubles as a regular PC. That's going to have a market for quite a few people, and I know for a lot of people they say, oh, if this thing is super expensive, it is dead on arrival. That does apply to pretty much everything. You can always just price out your primary market. But I would argue that Valve's primary market here might not be as big as a lot of us initially thought when they announced this thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think everything that comes out of the door needs to be the next big thing that sells like 100 million units or whatever. Something that is focused and has a role and does its best to fulfill that role can have a lot of value. And they say they want to price this thing competitively compared to if you just made a PC to be about as powerful as a Steam Machine. It should be around that price point. And, my opinion, if they are able to strike that zone and be even just a little bit more affordable, just a little bit cheaper, just a little bit off the top, I think it will find it like a healthy audience for that. It's not going to be the next PS2 or anything like that, but it also doesn't have to be. Reliability, affordability, and the ability to tinker deep into this thing, but also just allow it to be plug and play. If the Steam Machine can be that, it's not like the PC market is some dying industry or whatever. PC is arguably bigger right now than ever before. So even if the Steam Machine is something like $750 or like $800, somewhere in that range, I don't think it's dead on arrival. It's just going to end up being a more niche product than some people thought. And here's where the kicker comes in. It may go up in price in that, and it may go up in price a lot.
In a small but mighty package.
We now move over to PCPodPicker.com to look at the price of RAM. Some of you may have heard about this recent phenomenon. Yeah, the price of RAM is going through the roof right now. And this is like a compilation of charts for a bunch of different types of RAM and their price over the last 18 months in USD. And you can see every one of them is going through the roof. I mean, look at the DDR5 8001. Jesus. The 5200, the 5600, 6000, 5600. Look at all of these price increases. Oh my god, it doesn't stop. It's like Mount Everest. And the word on the street is that RAM prices are going through the roof right now because of AI. And while I don't know if that is confirmed per se, it makes a lot of sense to me, and it makes a lot of sense to me that a bunch of AI companies and people that use AI would want a lot of RAM. If you know what RAM does, that just makes a lot of sense. But RAM's a pretty integral part of any computer. Like, it's really important. And if the prices continue to increase like this, I think the Steam Machine is going to go up in price even more. I mean, look at this right here. The Steam Machine uses 16 gigabits of DDR5 RAM. It's like, pick your poison here. And a lot of this increase has only happened in the last couple of months. And if this continues as is, then the price of RAM is going to be ludicrous by the time the Steam Machine actually comes out. And if they don't want to sell this thing at a loss, who knows what they'll have to price the Steam Machine at? Let alone like other pre-builds or just other consoles in general. Like, this is not just a uniquely Steam Machine problem. This is a gaming industry-wide issue right now. We may not see it necessarily right now, but we're about to. Because unless these prices go down, these companies are going to respond. And it's not gonna be by lowering prices. That ain't happening. And if the price of RAM is really going up because of AI, I don't really see when the price is going to ever come down. I know a lot of people think we're in an AI bubble right now, and like, it's possible, don't get me wrong. I just am really pessimistic that we are. I think there is a very real chance that unless they're able to rapidly, massively increase supply, this is gonna be the norm moving forward. Again, this isn't going to be just the Steam Machine issue. They're not the only ones that use RAM. This is going to affect every console. This is going to affect everything. And I think it's very likely that in the near future, we start to see price increases yet again, unless these companies all have a Nostradamus and were able to stockpile RAM beforehand, not the one from ReZero. I think there's a lot of pessimism going around right now because of this, and I think a lot of it is justified. And a lot of people that bought hardware within the last year or so, I think they're breathing a sigh of relief right now. And I think there's a lot of people right now scrambling to upgrade in case this keeps happening. I don't think the Steam Machine is going to be a failure. I think it's going to have a market, and I think it will quite possibly appeal very much to its intended market. But even with the context that it's going to be priced like a PC, comparatively, it still has to be priced relatively well here, because it isn't that powerful of a piece of kit. It doesn't have to be. Its price just has to showcase that. So I think if they are able to manage to hit that 750, like somewhere in the 800 mark, preferably closer to 750, I think they might be able to pull this off.
In a small but mighty package.
I think a lot of us just want Windows to have more competition. And hopefully one day SteamOS can be refined and put out on enough hardware to where it can actually become viable competition, or just an alternative solution. Because I mean, come on. If you've been following Windows and its updates, like every update, it just goes, do you want this crap no one asked for? No, I don't. Hey, do you want your computer to take screenshots every 4 seconds? No. Who wants this crap? The people yearn for competition for Windows. They yearn for more competition for Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo. So when Valve comes out, being one of the most beloved gaming companies out there, and say, we're making a box, it's gonna be rather cheap, you can hook it up to your TV or just use it as a regular PC, people get excited for that naturally because they go, hey, finally, Gabe Newell has decided to come off his yacht once more to save the industry. And for a lot of people, they just get disappointed because, well, it seems as if the Steam Machine just isn't going to fulfill that role that they really wanted it to when they first heard about it. That doesn't necessarily make it a bad product or anything, but I can understand why a lot of people get disappointed by this. Because while yes, it is a PC, I think the target demographic a lot of people initially expected this thing to appeal to were console players. People that were becoming disillusioned with the state of consoles and want to get their foot in the door with PC, but something that wasn't going to break the bank or anything like that. Yeah, you can make your money back in the back end with Steam sales and no paid online. Yeah, sure. But that initial entrance fee is still steep for a lot of people. So the idea that Steam would come out of thin air to put out a piece of kit that is cheap enough, good enough, and comes with the Valve guarantee, yeah, that's going to excite a lot of people, even if it ends up like 750 to 800, unless this whole RAM situation continues to spiral, I think it will still find a good audience. But hey, time will tell. And here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts, your opinions on the Steam Machine. Are you looking forward to it? What do you expect the price of the Steam Machine to end up being? I'd love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives, and leave them down in the comments down below. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And speaking of Steam coming out of nowhere, we got a Black Friday sale. They moved the autumn sale to earlier in the year, and to fill in the gap, we got a Black Friday sale. If you want to hear my recommendations for things to keep an eye out for, you should check out this video right here for more. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again!